Episode number 102. Here we go. Before we get into the guests and the podcast itself, we got to take care of the business first. And this episode is brought to you by 511 Tactical. This is actually their first episode that they're sponsoring, but they are going to be a repeating sponsor of the podcast. And this actually builds from a personal relationship that I've had with the brand for, I think, 4 going on 5 years, actually. If you go to their website, which is actually 511tactical.com, no dots in any of that. If you look at how the brand is laid out, it says 5.11 on a lot of their stuff, or all their stuff, but don't put that in on the website, 511tactical.com. I started off as one of their ambassadors, and I've actually done quite a few of their product, not review videos, but explanation videos, specifically in the backpack and body armor area. But again, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about here. This is a sponsorship of the podcast. 511 Tactical makes and builds equipment by working closely with the most demanding professionals in the field. And I would say the field of military first response. The products are first field tested and then approved by operators in those fields, and then they are sent to market. And they make a lot of stuff. You need to go to 511tactical.com, 511tactical.com, and look across the top bar. Gift guide, men's, women's, footwear, bags and packs, accessories, professionals. And the actual landing page right now is a holiday gift guide. And what you'll see on there is a pair of jeans. Their jeans kick ass, and their bags kick ass, and a lot of their other stuff kicks ass. I wore a pair of their shoes for an entire base season one year, probably put 200 miles on them over in Switzerland over a few-week time period. I have a variety of their backpacks and the majority of their clothes. The cool thing that I like about 511 Tactical is that you're going to have a choice. The choice will be you can focus on product that has the tactical technology on the inside or the tactical technology on the outside. That landing page, 511tactical.com, has a picture of a backpack that has Molly on the outside. If you wear Molly out in the world, you're kind of screaming tactical to a degree. It's screaming that you're coming from that first responder world. If you were to put the Molly or have the attachment points on the inside, to me, that's a little bit more low vis, and that's the direction that I prefer to go. And why I like 511 Tactical, or one of the reasons that I do, is that it gives you the option to do both. They still have a lot of the technology in their more low vis pieces of equipment and clothing. So you have the chance or choice to choose how you display yourself with your public signature. In my opinion, and in my recommendation, you should go as quiet as humanly possible. So you can go and check out all that latest gear, all the stuff I just talked about. Seriously, check out the jeans. That's the product that I'm going to start with recommending first. I like them very much. They fit well, and they're durable as hell. And 511 is going to give the Cleared Hot listeners a special deal, too. You can take 15% off of your purchase when you use the code ClearedHot15. And it's not case sensitive, but it is one word, ClearedHot15. Go to their website, check it out, get some cool shit. This episode is also brought to you by Onnit, the one-stop shop, total human optimization platform that has everything from supplements to nutrition to fitness to also some apparel. They have a fitness category that is going to give you recommendations for activities, for workouts. They have videos, they have articles, they have spoken word. Pick the medium that you like and dive in as deep as you want to. If you go to onnit.com/hot, you're going to be at the landing page for Cleared Hot. You'll know that because you're going to see the podcast logo front and center. And the 3 things you're going to see there now are Alpha Brain, which I use often. It is a nootropic, and it's supposed to help your memory, your focus, and your processing speed. I find all 3 of those things to be true. And I don't take this every day, and I've talked about this before, because I do feel a difference when I take it, and I don't want to overdo it or develop some level of tolerance in my body. So a lot of times when I go and I'll do public speaking, I will utilize Alpha Brain or before I'm getting ready to do a podcast because it helps me, or I feel like it helps me, with memory and being able to pull words out of my vocabulary. Also on the front, you're going to see Power Food Active. It's a combination of protein and micronutrients to support your body. It's delicious. And then below that, you're going to see fitness, which has got the equipment and the recommendations. So On has been a long-time sponsor of the podcast. I've been using their stuff for a long time, long before I had a professional relationship with them when it came to the podcast. And they're an awesome brand. I like the quality of their products. I like the quality of their ingredients specifically. I like how they derive their products. And if you're going to focus on the micro aspect of your training, I can't recommend them enough. So go to onnit.com/hot. And again, dive in. If you're looking for holiday gifts for people, this is something I forgot to say. Or maybe I did say it talking about 511. I don't know. It's early in the morning. If you knew somebody who maybe needs a little nudge or a little push, some of these things are a good idea to gift, right? Maybe give somebody a little bit of a positive nudge in the right direction, and hopefully they can have a long-term difference in their life as well, too. But that is it on the business side of the house. Episode number 102 is with 3 high-level jiu-jitsu practitioners. And I think sometimes people will see these episodes and they're not interested in jiu-jitsu, which I understand. But more often than not, if not every time that I have sat down with individuals like this, we don't actually talk about jiu-jitsu that much. It certainly comes up, and that's why this podcast was recorded in Niagara Falls at a fall camp for SBG, which stands for Straight Blast Gym. That is the organization that I'm learning jiu-jitsu through. And one of the guests is Travis Davison. He is my jiu-jitsu coach and the owner of the facility that I train at in the Flathead Valley. One of the other guests is Jon Frankel, a returning guest, incredibly high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a professor in Korea and is a Renaissance man in many ways. He, of course, makes his own knives and belts and alcohol because, why wouldn't you do those things if you knew how to do it? I don't know how to do any of those things, but I can wear a belt and use a knife and consume alcohol. So I think that's maybe why we get along so well. And then the third guest is Michael Hines. I met him at fall camp, and he is getting ready to partner up with a good friend of mine, Rob Wolf, and open a jiu-jitsu facility in Texas. They are going to be SBG, or Straight Blast Gym, Texas. And we talk about that on the podcast. So I'm going to let him, actually all 3 of these individuals, introduce themselves. And let's just get on with the podcast. Episode number 102 with Travis Davison, Jon Frankel, and Michael Hines. Enjoy.
Okay, I got the red smoke. Gun run, north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
Easy. Don't worry about the red light. It doesn't mean that we're recording at all.
No. What does REC stand for?
Recreation.
Okay. Good.
The beauty is today when we were with Adam and Rory, I don't think they caught that I hit it for about 10 minutes because as soon as they put the headsets, it's the varsity moves, you just hit it, right? Because it's easy to trim. It's hard to recreate.
And they were just like free form. They didn't know they were being.
They were discussing the Jewish heritage.
There were some racial slurs.
There was some racial talk, not really slurs, but discussion.
Okay, that's one way of putting it.
Adam may have used the word retard a few times in a manner that's, I'm okay with it. I don't know if other people would be.
It's your podcast.
It's the internet. That's the beauty of it. There's nobody going to censor that, but yeah. So this is technically round 2. What month was it? 2 months ago?
It was, it would have been August.
We were 45 minutes into what I think was going to be an awesome podcast.
For everyone but my brother.
For everybody, it was actually, I think, going to get worse for your brother as we continued on. It might have been in his favor that the power killed when it did.
Oh, I'm sure. I think it was divine intervention, actually.
Vanessa might have cut something.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Right. Did she have like bolt cutters or something with her?
I don't know.
She is Mexican.
She was out of the room when the power went out.
I'm just saying.
She was out of the room. Power went out, so instead we just ate steaks and drank. And it was
pretty awesome.
It was awesome. But yeah, we were talking.
We should ask my wife how awesome it was, because from what I hear, the car ride home was not as awesome.
But that was after the podcast.
True.
And unfortunately, with these things, if the power goes like midway through, it just it Z's everything out. So we lost.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I found that out the hard way twice. Once, and the reason I switched to this is my old unit was battery powered, and just not paying attention to the bars slowly decreasing, and then it's like, I can't hear myself in my headset. Oh, we just lost the last 90 minutes.
That is hard to recreate.
It is hard to recreate, and I've tried it because
not the same.
I've had conversations where it happens naturally. I'm literally crying and realize, oh, the button's still green. Hold on, let's do that again. And you're just like, that's hilarious. I miss your brother. I wanted to roll with him again. I was going to chase him around this time.
I miss him too. I actually haven't seen
You were
him.
pretty deep in his head. He had to unpack that like for 45 minutes in a bar.
I haven't seen him
love it.
actually since that trip. And I reached out to him about a week ago, and I was like, hey, coming to camp? He's like, I can't. My business partner's in Hawaii. I got all these jobs. But then the real bombshell was I haven't been able to roll my arm. It's messed up again. So
He did
unfortunately,
that on a Kimura, right? Shoulder?
he got Kimura. It was the original injury that pulled the muscle off of the ligament, bone, tendon. I'm not sure what came apart, but they put bolts in there and tied it back together, rehabbed it, PT, the whole 9 yards, and then I thought he was doing everything right, but apparently he's re-injured himself, so he's no longer rolling at the moment.
How long was he rolling? Because wasn't I his first roll back?
Pretty much. So it could have been your fault, actually.
Yes, probably was. I don't know what I'm doing.
So, but yeah, no,
I think your
unfortunately.
beard is kind of tickling that microphone.
Oh, it
Do you like it?
It's just like
Oh, yeah, you can get the
Scratchy.
Little, pull
Scratchy.
it up and then over. Yep,
Yeah.
it was your beard. You're good.
I'm sorry. I apologize for my
it's
manliness.
pretty. It's pretty manly.
I apologize.
I wish I could grow a beard like that.
I'm so splotchy.
I can do, if I ever needed to do undercover work, it would be like building furniture with the Amish or as an Abe Lincoln impersonator. That would be the two jobs I could do undercover.
Which sounds cool. I mean, that would be cool. If you're going undercover, why not go Amish?
You see people, though, like with the super low beard and then they'll shave whatever mustache they have, and it's just a look that I can't get behind nor bring myself to try.
No,
I can't do it.
you're looking Highlander, Viking. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
A lot of the content from the gym, though, you don't have a beard. So how long have you been at? Did you shave it in the summer months, or in this year you just went through?
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. So every year I let it grow in the winter.
Yep.
And Kisa doesn't like beards. And that's the reason I didn't normally shave it. Well, something must have changed in her, and now she likes the beard. And so I just didn't shave it this time.
He tried to tap me with his beard one time. He's like, I'm going to wrist lock you with my beard. And then he tried to do it. He almost got it, too, that son of a bitch.
Pretty cheap.
That sounds like a made-up story, but it's 100% true. In fact, it was just last week.
It's in cross-eyed bottoms. I'm going to tap you with my beard. I'm like, no, you're not. Wow.
I thought you meant like mounting and put it in his mouth and his face.
I would immediately tap with
I
that.
would tap.
Oh,
Yeah.
just get off. Get off of me.
I don't roll that way.
Good.
Yeah. But I will wrist lock you with it for sure. But I refer to them as wrist bars now because it makes them sound a little bit more upscale.
I had a guy tell me today, and I'm not using any names and I won't give you any description, that he is known in his gym as the wrist locker. I worry about rolling with people like that.
He's known as the wrist locker.
Yeah.
Who could that be?
It's just a guy that I've
Yeah.
partnered with and rolled with a little bit. He's fine. I just always get a little concerned because then they usually apply, they'll say like the dark arts. I'm like, what are you talking about? This isn't Dungeons and Dragons. Isn't that just a simple joint?
Yeah. It's not good to mystify it. It's just part of jiu-jitsu. But
Why do people think it's dirty? It almost always seems to have a negative connotation with it. Like, oh, you got me with the wrist lock. That doesn't count. I'm like,
John
well,
gets to go first. And then I'm going to say what I'm going to say regardless of what he says.
So wrist locks and foot locks of late have kind of become more mainstream.
footlocks are for assholes.
You feel that way?
I do because people attack my feet and
Yeah.
I get mad at them.
So wrist
I
locks.
hate footlocks too.
So
I'm going to tell you why in a second.
yeah,
It's my own fault, though, because I'm just now starting to learn the defense. It's completely on me.
Yeah.
But when they fall backwards, I'm like, God damn it. I usually say that and then tap.
yeah. So it's I think it's like takedowns. You know, blind spot in jiu-jitsu. Everyone should be good at takedowns. Everyone should be good at footlocks. Everyone should be good at wrist locks. And if if someone, and I don't know who this person is, and there are exceptions, but 99% of the time, if someone says, I'm known as the wrist locker, I'm like, so the rest of your game sucks, and you're trying to compensate. But if you also do wrist locks, and you also do foot locks, totally legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I got the impression that it was the
Former,
not the latter. Yeah.
probably. Especially if he said it.
He did. Unsolicited.
Super douchey.
it's weird to call yourself anything
Well, it's because
other than your name.
the coach was talking about that Kimura grip, and I grabbed him like this. And he
The
said,
right way, you mean?
The right way.
he said, oh, people don't let me get that grip in my gym. I'm more known for my wrist locking. I'm kind of a wrist locker. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to hold here, and you can try to get out of this if you want to.
I'm now I'm trying so hard to remember who
You
his
guys
partner
never
was.
will. You never will.
But I think the reason why people think wrist locks are cheap, they don't like foot locks and these things, is they're the same people that get caught in them. And so it somehow makes them feel better to say, well, that doesn't really count. But the better solution would have been, why did I get caught in that? You know, why am I getting wrist locked? Why am I getting foot locked? Because I'll be honest with you, I roll with Jon all the time. I've never foot locked him, and I've never wrist locked him.
Have you tried to?
100%. I try everything.
And I've been wrist locked once successfully in 25 years, and I've been foot locked 10 times successfully in 25 years.
When you were at the seminar in Kalispell, I think you were rolling with either Jimmy or Ari.
Yeah.
And
They both go for a lot of legs.
They do, but I remember I was rolling next to you and I caught you, I was listening to you and you were talking about just problem solving under pressure. And I was like, God damn it. I try to do that too, but then I just tap because they get me. However, you have that 25 years of experience.
Those are tricks. So what I say about jiu-jitsu tricks, like now the new leg lock game now, I don't consider tricks. Like the guys who do it well are approaching it like other positions in jiu-jitsu. They put you in a position like mount, except with the lower body, where there's an asymmetry. They can attack you, you can't attack them, or at least you can attack them with much less effectiveness. Then it's legit. But when it's tricks, it's like a magic trick. Like you go to a magic show and you're like, my God, that's magic. And then the magician shows you and you realize it's fake.
It's just a mirror.
And you'll never be fooled again until you die 100 years later. You know, but you'll be tricked until someone shows you. And that's trick jujitsu works like magic tricks. It's like, yeah, a couple times and then you figure it out or someone shows you and it never works again.
Travis has given me just a few. He's like, just control this arm. And you hear him go, damn it. And it's funny because I hold on to it. And then now I can let go because I can kind of feel when and I'll grab it again. And then I'll let go or I'll just pull my foot out a little bit earlier. My only concern with people that's their whole game is if you pull that in the street, your face is getting punted.
Of course.
Assuming that there's more than one person you're fighting, or just go ahead and fall back on your back in a bar and watch how you're going to wake up with foot marks on your face. But
yeah, there's Travis and I talked about it today. We talk about it all the time. It's like what he's going to teach at camp is stand up, takedowns. You know, it's like, and the people who you understand fighting in general and jiu-jitsu specifically, but so you understand one end of it. The other end of it is I won't learn jiu-jitsu because I don't want to be lying down in a bar. Travis's section, I'm guessing, because we've known each other a long time, and any good jiu-jitsu guy, judo guy, wrestler is going to be like, yeah, but I'm the one who decides if we stay standing or not.
Yeah.
Not you. Not because you've ignored grappling and takedowns. It's like if you know them, you can use them. You don't have to use them.
yeah, it's a good point. You're the one making the decision how it goes.
And you can also, it's like maybe you'll go to the ground alone, hard, and I'll stay standing.
Yeah. But also, if it does end up on the ground, wouldn't it be great to know what to do?
Of course.
To get off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good start.
Yeah, it would be a good start. You guys are repeat guests. You were actually, man, what episode were you?
You think Dudley's listening to this right now? Because
He probably will.
This is 2 in 1 day, Dudley.
But they'll come out a week apart. But he'll appreciate the fact that you're coming.
I've noticed from Korea that you guys are keeping score pretty hard.
Yeah, Dudley on the last one was just like, suck it, Travis. I'm like, damn,
Oh,
that's
yes.
aggressive.
Yeah, say that to my face, Dudley.
He probably would, but he'd be like,
He would be above my face by like another of me.
Yeah. 6'5", athletic, strong. I'm actually really hoping he never learns any fundamentals because he would be a fucking nightmare.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also just hear you guys talk analytical, right?
Oh, yeah.
Process oriented.
Oh,
yeah.
If you taught him a process,
Yeah.
Dudley, you always will do it like this. He would say, yes, I will always do it like that. And then you're just
500 times a day. I'm better than you, right?
He would be an older Gus is what he would be.
Yeah, right?
He'd be an older version
And
of
Gus is a nightmare.
100%.
Gus is a nightmare.
Gus
you
is a
guys had to
nightmare.
go to dinner tonight, and I'm glad you did because he had just started rolling me around from back control, and I was just like, oh. He's like, oh, I have to go. I'm like, that sucks, Gus. That's so shitty. Can we finish this roll tomorrow, but from starting over?
It'll end up the same way.
I know. He's such a nice guy, though, too.
Super
He is.
gentle.
Yeah, and I had heard horror stories of just his horrendous neon belly taps. And I think the first time I ever rolled with him, it was a camp in Atlanta, and he just very gently passed and like applied. I'm like, oh God, here it comes, and he was just laughing, gentle as could be. Nicest guy ever. Was like giving me feedback throughout. He's phenomenal. Yeah, he's the best. So the listeners knew you two guys. You need to explain yourself.
Oh, this is my first podcast.
That's not how you start.
Yeah, I'm Michael Heinz, and I'm just moving back to the U.S. from Korea. It was 15 years in East Asia. Was in Korea training with Jon, and was in Japan 2 years before that. And
Swing that mic just a touch closer to your mouth.
You're breaking up.
You're going in and out. You
Okay.
can tell it's your
How's
first.
that sound?
It's good. It is your first
Okay.
podcast.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
learning though too. I've let people go for like 45 minutes with it like that. People are like, oh, the audio sucks. I'm like, you suck. It's the only reason. Just repeat back to what they say. What took you to East Asia?
Just adventure, really. At the end of the day, it wasn't a very complicated decision. I just was finishing graduate school, and a friend of mine was like, come to Japan. It's awesome. So I did. I didn't have anything going on, didn't have a job. Just
Where were you for graduate school?
I was at Truman State. I was doing a graduate school, and I was doing a master's in education, and just thought I'd spend a year abroad and then be back in the States. And 15 years later, I am back in the States with a wife and kids, and yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, I suppose.
I assume you were not doing jiu-jitsu when you moved to Japan?
No, not at all. I didn't pick up jiu-jitsu until about 10 years ago. Jon and I worked at the same university. I worked in a very lowly position, though, but I just heard about the jiu-jitsu they were doing at the gym, and I came over and just kind of fell in love with it.
That was
away.
that?
Yeah, it was just came in, and all the guys I trained with to begin with now own gyms, and they were just murderers, and there were no other white belts, and they would just murder me on the mat every day, and I was like, these guys are amazing. Like, I want to be this sometimes.
The scene you have going on there does seem amazing, but when you put up those damn caricatures, freaking Cyrillic alphabet, you like put a picture up of like awesome rolling, and then like this. I'm like, God damn it, Jon, what's actually happening? I don't speak Korean.
I try to go bilingual. So Michael's very, he's humble, which is why we like him. So he's a purple belt, but 10 years into jiu-jitsu, never cared about the belts, was always just about rolling and training and stuff, and has been doing way, way, way before that, yoga and meditation at a very high level. In fact, of late, he's actually taught me quite a bit in a short period. I mean, quite a bit relative to the short period of time about meditation. And so he brings a really good, what jiu-jitsu people all talk about but don't always actualize the whole camp thing is letting go and just having a better mindset, He really has that. So, he would have been a purple belt anyway. At a lot of schools, he'd be beyond that. We kind of go slow. But I wouldn't have, he'd still be a purple belt. He'd still be my friend, and he's those things. But I wouldn't have recommended him to Travis and Matt to open SBG Texas unless I thought like he was really, on board across all fronts, which he is. But he's not. I have to say that because he's not going to say it. But I'm really looking.
Which is a good indication.
Right? Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
The guy that says like, you guys don't understand how awesome I am.
They call me the wrist locker.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm also called the wrist locker.
Do you guys know? You guys know that I'm known for my humbleness mostly. Right? Oh shit! So you're going to go to Tejas, the great state of Texas, and you're going to open an SBG gym there.
Yep.
We need more people like you in more places. I don't know how many times I have texted Travis with a buddy of mine. I'm like, is there an SBG in fill in the blank? And the answer is most often, nope.
No.
We're kind of picky. That's why.
No, I think it's a great thing.
It's high standards.
Not McDonald's.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not a franchise. You know.
Yeah.
So how'd you settle on Texas?
It's a bit of a story, but
It's almost as if podcasts
it's
are
almost
story
as if
based.
podcasts are long form discussions or something. No, so it was my wife who really wanted us to relocate to the U.S. She was working very hard as an interpreter and kind of just reached the top of her profession and felt like she wanted to just do something else and kind of just wanted to get out of Korea and have a different experience. My wife is Korean. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, you got to move us to the U.S. And it was on me to kind of figure out what I was going to do job-wise. And at some point I was talking with Jon and I thought like, hey, wait a minute, like, maybe I should just open a gym because I knew whatever I was going to do, I like the form of jiu-jitsu that I've learned, and I know that not everybody practices jiu-jitsu the way that we do. And so when I started thinking about that more, I started thinking, like I was thinking about teaching, and I thought I'd still have maybe a gym on the side. And then I started thinking, like, why not just have the gym and not do all the other stuff? And Jon was like, I'll hook you up with SBG. That's the way to go. I mean, we talked about it a lot. And then I rolled off to Costa Rica to train with Henry Akins. And when I was there, I met Rob Wolf, who's a good friend of Jon's. And he and I hit it off. He was giving me a lot of advice on opening the gym. But we left it at that. He left Costa Rica early. And then I came back to Korea. And almost maybe a month later, Rob just emailed me and was like, I have a really kind of crazy idea. I don't know where you were planning to settle in the U.S., but I want an SBG gym in Texas, which is where I want to go. Would you be interested in that? I could help you with the gym. And I was just like, I like crazy ideas, so here we go. And that was kind of, and then we just started shopping for cities and towns in Texas between the two of us, just Googling it every other day and just sharing notes. And Rob got on the ground and really liked New Braunfels, and
Yep.
we were just like, okay, let's do this place. Like,
That's so fortuitous that he ran into Rob. Like,
Crazy.
First off, he's a complete wizard between the ears. The guy's a genius. I met
love
him.
Rob, yeah.
I met him years ago at a CrossFit seminar where somehow he and I were both working it, but I was tasked with giving the nutrition lecture.
How did that happen?
That's weird. Yeah.
First off, I can give a solid nutrition lecture. People ask me questions like, hey, are beans protein? It's like, shut the fuck up. Next question. No, what I would do is people would ask questions and I would say, Rob, what are your thoughts on this? And he would just slowly come a little bit closer. Rob, why don't you just go ahead and finish this off?
But good leadership is about delegation, right? That's a good move.
And I knew who he was at the time too. And I just remember sitting up there like, what's going on here? I mean, I can talk about protein and carbs and fat. I'm like, yeah, just do your best and eat pizza only 6 days a week, not 7. But he's a purple belt, isn't he as well?
Yeah.
I think he's close to his brown belt.
Yeah.
Like,
Rob's another guy with a lot more exposure like Michael than belts.
Yes.
So, they've moved to different gyms or just been, relocating and also just not hunting for belts, but a lot of experience. I think he's been in and out of jiu-jitsu. I mean, in for the last several years, but even before that, in and out, I think.
He was training at an SBG in Reno, right?
Right.
Or somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, it was with
somewhere near
An SBG coach.
Yeah, with
Ray
Ray Price. Yeah, Ray
Price,
Price. He's a what is the Reno 911? I think that's what.
Oh, the shorty shorts.
Yeah, he's a pretty high-ranking law enforcement officer. He
Yeah,
sort
he
of worked
is.
his way up into the.
And that whole gym is just a bunch of powerlifting, like just ginormous dudes.
Well, that's not true. Ray's top 3 or 4 guys are like huge insert size, huge strength, technical and nice guys, but like scary big and strong.
Yeah.
But then now he's built like below that. They're just normal civilians like us. But his original group was pretty rough, I think. Matt had to work with him for a couple of years just to take off the wrestling shoes and put on a gi.
Round off the edges a little bit.
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy. Don't get me
He's
wrong.
the man.
Yeah, no, he's super solid.
So when are you guys going to open? Because I suspect that there will be people who listen to this who will want to know when and where it's going to be.
That was a big question.
Yeah, when are you going to open?
Well, we're hoping.
That's no.
You're hoping to get it open as soon as possible.
No. You're going to pick a date right now.
If I had to guess,
No.
we haven't picked out the location yet. That's the problem.
That's a problem for you and Rob.
I'm flying
I need a
back
date.
in there maybe February 1st is what I would like. That would be.
Really?
To be honest, I have a hard time understanding all the construction and the build out and everything.
I know
It's all very new.
I was going to say,
so.
somebody at this table that doesn't look like you, me, or John is in the middle of that right now.
I always think like the first of the year is better.
That's what I prefer, but just people were talking to me that they didn't think that was going to be very likely.
You know what? They are losers.
I was going to say,
enough,
you got to.
Yeah, I mean, it is my first rodeo, so I'm kind of just at.
Rob should be able to help a lot with that, though, because
Yeah.
I think he was one of the first 10 CrossFit affiliates.
No, we owned it together. 4.
Fourth? Yeah, CrossFit NorCal, right?
Yeah.
Or NorCal CrossFit, depending on how they did the name.
We did CrossFit NorCal.
Yeah.
4th.
So he's been down that road for sure. He's done a ton of online stuff, too. He knows his social media. He's always out there educating people.
Giving me a ton of help already. It's been huge.
It's going to be, you guys are going to create some savages because he's got a crazy strength and conditioning knowledge-based background. Obviously, the nutrition background that he can provide. And then with some high-level jiu-jitsu on top of all of that, there's going to be some savages that come out of that place for sure.
I'm excited about the whole venture.
I'm excited about the whole thing.
Then Texas Texas is kind of like Montana. Like people don't mind working hard there. Like you'll get guys in there with a good work ethic. It's like, okay, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu and I'm really going to do jiu-jitsu.
And they have great music and barbecue.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nelson gave me a suggestion of a song based off you guys sitting around, The Winner.
Oh, yeah.
Shel Silverstein.
I downloaded it.
Chris Christopherson does a great version of that. So I turned Nelson on to Shel Silverstein, which I read all his books as a kid.
Nelson's a fake name, by the way. Just so you guys know, we're protecting his identity.
Yeah. Nelson.
Mandela.
But yeah, Shel Silverstein. Did you read it like A Light in the Attic, Where the Sidewalk
Isn't he Harold in
Ends?
the Purple Crayon?
He did.
Was that someone else?
Yeah.
But Anna, I didn't because I had a crummy childhood, but my daughter did.
He wrote A Boy Named Sue, the Johnny Cash song.
right.
That was his. He wrote that.
Multi-talented.
Very talented.
Yep.
He wrote the cover of the Rolling Stone. In fact, he hung out with all those guys. Anyways, that's a different.
But The Winner's legit.
The Winner is my favorite song.
It's pretty good. The whole thing.
It's more than pretty good. It's everything about that song is perfect.
Well,
but I'm the winner.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that makes me the winner.
Wait,
she gets meaner and uglier every day, but she's mine, and I guess that makes me the winner.
Yeah. The lyrics to that song are unbelievable.
But also the physical abuse of his body. I mean,
that's the song.
Jiu-jitsu. You know, I think about, I feel like I'm coming it out here. Chris Howder. It's not who's good, it's who's left. But then, also like, okay, that's an awesome philosophy, but you got to take care of your own body too,
I was talking to Michael on the way back from the airport yesterday. At 45 right now, like my daily goal on the mat is just don't get injured.
You were saying that to me at the gym.
I'm saying it.
Whatever day it was that we left. Or
I'm
the day before
saying
we
it
left.
to everybody because I want it to actually be true. And I know how I am and how I've been for the last 20 years. And I want to be rolling till I'm 70, 75. And so I feel like now the daily goal is to be healthy.
I have two things. One, I helped you a little bit with that, right?
100%.
Yeah. Second thing is I came upon this by thinking about this a lot and trying to, Travis is now older and more mature. All of us are, but I am
not more mature. Okay. I just had a birthday, but I am not more mature.
But we have these, but we also have these 23-year-old guys who want to win world championships. And I don't want to weaken them. And I don't want to crush their dreams. And I don't want to say, train like me. It's like, they're not like me. I'm twice their age. At the same time, what I found out was a way to kind of mediate between the two messages. And I think I probably said this in Montana, maybe. It's like, everyone thinks about, like, if they want like a patch on their gi, it's like the shark, or the tiger or some like apex predator that goes around killing things. It's like their number one priority is not getting injured. Like they're looking for little gimpy, broken leg, fawns.
Yeah.
Not for big bucks with horns that might gore them because they'll
die.
They don't have antibiotics.
Yeah, they're circling the peripheral of the pack.
And I'm not saying be a predator as a human being, because those people are horrible and should be, gotten rid of. But that idea of even those animals that we think are the most savage, they're like, I can't sustain an injury because I'll die because I don't have antibiotics, or the second in command will eat me when he sees that I'm limping, right? And so it's like, that is a big deal in terms of like, back to Rob Wolf, evolutionary biology and evolutionary fitness.
Yep.
It's like, you can't be banging yourself so much. And I love Greg Glassman as an individual, but one of my problems with the way CrossFit approached this was like, oh yeah, we're the best for like law enforcement and special forces. And now what you're going to do is do pull-ups till both your hands are bloody. And it's like, how are you going to hold your weapon with two shredded, bloody hands? It's like there's a sweet spot.
What's crazy about that too is that I think that Greg's intent was correct in the prescription that he was giving. It was the people who were applying it themselves. Because I was around Greg every day for almost 8 years, and he never once said you need to go hang on a bar and do pull-ups until your hands get calloused and they're destroyed. But then yet people started taking pictures of that as like their daily badge, which then escalated. Yeah. It was his prescription, I think, was okay, but it's somewhere along the way because of the power, positive and negative, of the internet. It got a little bit out of control, for sure. But yeah, let's go tax our endocrine system so hard in the gym that when you, like in my old job, like you'd see these guys, not often, but they would just demolish themselves in the gym. And then we would have to go to work, and it's like, hey man, you suck. You're tired. I understand why. You're like winded doing anything because you're exhausted. Maybe we can make the priority what we're doing for our job, and you can just get your deadlift numbers up some other time.
Right. Pro fighters. I don't know what the MMA guys are doing, but like I used to be, I don't like boxing anymore because MMA made it boring, and I think it's very corrupt. But there was a lot of wisdom like among old boxers and old boxing trainers, and like back in the day, boxers like, don't leave your fight in the gym. That was their thing. Like, you need to fight for money, and for you guys, you need to fight for real. Don't leave your fight in the gym. And I think that's a succinct way to put it.
How about that guy who just died?
Yeah, head injuries or something.
Yeah, apparently I was talking to a guy about it today. I guess the knockout was clean, but the way he fell on it just took a complete whipper with his head, eyes wide open, but fully seized, and I guess he never regained consciousness. No thanks.
Well, John Kavanaugh and the smarter MMA trainers, they're just not doing any headshots anymore.
Really?
No, not really. Totally minimal. And like I've trained in Thailand a lot before when I was still exploring different martial arts. And Thais don't spar. They're savages. If you watch a Thai boxing fight, they don't have any problem hitting people really hard in the face with their fists, elbows, and feet and knees. But they won't do it to each other because most of them fight weekly for $100 instead of annually for $1 million. And they can't be getting cut in training. They can't be getting their shins banged up in training. And so they do the hardest thing they do is like clinch sparring because it's like jiu-jitsu. Like you can do that safely. Like when they necktie and they throw each other, that's just like, okay, we're going to wrestle, we're going to do jiu-jitsu, no impact. They'll never throw an elbow at each other in the gym. All of their really hard striking is a guy holding pads.
Yeah.
So, and they're savages. They have no problem.
Have you been to Thailand and just sat at the ringside bars and just watched them annihilate each other?
I've watched the main stadiums. I've watched the ringside bars. I've fought in the ringside bars, and I've trained in the camps. And it's like no one ever. The only time that anyone ever really, really tries to hurt anyone is in the ring. Like they don't waste that in the gym.
I don't blame them. Some of the most savage fights I've ever seen were cocktail at a ringside bar in like downtown Thailand. Shortly afterwards, I stole a scooter and wrecked it. Got in trouble. That's a different story. I was not sober at the time. It was my earlier years. Yeah, unbelievable for sure. we were basically sitting at a table like this, but the table was square, and there were just people kicking the shit out of each other, and you're just like, oh my god, probably for $100, like you said.
A lot of them are just teenagers.
Yeah. They were very
start young.
Yeah.
Yes, very young for sure. What I like about Travis saying that he's rolling for longevity is I watch him go hard in the paint every day. I'm like, how soft are you going?
But that's the soft version.
Probably is, yeah.
This is the softer, kinder version of me. But I'm honest, and that's why I do. I'm having the dialogue because I know if I say it enough times, I might actually take my own advice.
Plant the seed.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the process right now.
He goes hard in the paint.
I know.
With me, at least.
It's not just you.
Well, yeah. I'm usually rolling with somebody else.
He has an easier time going easier with me because there's like not a promise, but or not an agreement. Like we don't say like, okay, today we're going to go light. We all, because it's like, I don't know. I think you feel comfortable with me.
Yeah.
Like he knows I'm not A, trying to do anything crazy, and B, no matter what happens, it never gets discussed or thought about. It's like, okay, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Remember, you know what it's like? I grew up on cartoons. So Wile E. Coyote was always the Roadrunner, except that one where it was him fighting the sheepdog, and he's always trying to, there was Sam and something else, and they were at war, right? They were at war. He's trying to kill the sheep. The sheepdog's always smashing him. And then at the end of the day, they like punch their cards, like, see you tomorrow, Sam. They're like, okay, see you tomorrow, Ralph. And they're like buddies.
Yeah.
It's like, he knows, like, I'm not, at the end of the day, we're comfortable. So I don't think he feels, but like maybe like some uppity student who thinks like, oh, I'm going to leg lock coach.
That's right there.
Oh. It's not true. I tell myself, I've told you this before. I watched you roll at the first camp in Atlanta. And I'm like, he appears to be sleeping, but also destroying that person.
That's my goal.
I'm like, okay, I need to roll like Frankl. So I tell myself that, and then I just lose my mind shortly thereafter. But I actively am trying to just chill more.
And that's all you need to do is if that picture's in your head, you will reach that picture.
Yeah.
And Jean-Jacques Machado, who I think is one of the best in the universe, he had a really interesting quotation that it wasn't something he came up. I mean, it wasn't something he always said, but like a few years ago, just came up. And he said, I do less in jiu-jitsu now than ever before. And he says, but in order to do less, you have to know more.
Yep, that makes sense.
And so he's gotten to a point where it's like now he's really efficient, but he's admitting that he went hard for a lot of years.
Yeah, to gain the knowledge base that allows him to chill out because a lot of it to me seems to like I've said before, the pattern recognition. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, these are the likely outcomes of this. This is the most likely you can. It was the same thing. You can find deficiencies and worry much less about stuff. I'll get there one day. Sometimes I freak out, but I suck. Like Adam sucked him in a little bit today. And when he says that,
he admitted it.
When he says that though, when he's like, "Well, we switched to my pace," which was exactly the same as the pace that we were rolling before he said we switched. Except he was laying on me breathing hard. That was the only difference.
Glenn Powdish said the exact same thing about Rory at the last camp. So Adam and Rory always think they're going soft, but they're always going hard.
It felt exactly the same to me when he's like, oh, I got sucked in, but now we're doing my pay. I'm like, this feels the same. But okay, whatever you got to do.
People have a hard time relaxing.
Yeah. I was laughing. We were laughing. And then he kicked me off, and he's like, I'm done. We'll finish tomorrow. I'm like, all right.
He may have still been upset about the whole plane thing and where the door was.
Oh, my God. The discussion we had today, he went skydiving for the first time, and most people who go jumping for the first time remember maybe 2% of it. He perhaps would say he remembered more than that, and I started talking about how he was jumping out of the right-hand side of the aircraft, and I've been around a lot of jump planes, and there are some, but they're small, but he said there was like 12 people in the plane. He said there was one propeller. He pulls up a picture of an obvious dual-engine aircraft with a door in the back left and starts saying, yeah, that's what I said.
Chances are he was also,
relaxed
on something.
Yeah, he was chill for sure.
Yeah.
Meditation. How did you get? I'm curious about this, and because I want to tie it back into jiu-jitsu and visualization, because I hear and see people talking about the two. They go back and forth. you explain your theory on meditation and where you're at with it. Because I actually get asked this question a lot too about either visualization or meditation.
That's an interesting distinction. I wouldn't really say that I do visualization. Just to give you background on myself and that, 22 years or so, 21, 22 years, every day, twice a day for myself. That's a pretty big part of my life. And
For how long?
about 20 minutes a pop, sometimes more.
Is it structured, or do you let your mind? And please talk to me as if I'm an idiot.
No, sure.
Because I know almost nothing about this.
One of the metaphors that I like to use is to think about thoughts in the sky, using our mind and thinking of our mind as if it were the sky. Like, if you think about the sky and there are clouds in the sky, that's kind of like thoughts in your mind. And our focus is generally kind of on those clouds. Meditation is kind of drifting into the sky beyond the clouds. And it's not really an easy thing to explain beyond that. The space in which thoughts occur or feelings occur, like that is the space that you're drifting into.
Did it take you time to be able to achieve that state?
No, not really. It's a pretty instantaneous thing. And I think I would really, I am very hesitant to call it any kind of a skill. I don't think that you get better at it exactly. I don't know that you get worse at it, but it's not really a skill. It's just your mind. It's always there. And you can either put your attention on it or not. It's as simple as that, really.
Well, do you take a structured approach to, like you're saying, elevating that?
Yeah, there was a structured approach and stuff. And so I learned, I actually learned a great many different types of meditation over the years. But the one that I've used most consistently was a mantra-based meditation. And in that sense, you are kind of using a thought to direct yourself back into that space. That would be a simple way of describing it. I think, it's 2 decades of doing something. You kind of, there's just an automaticness to it at this point for me. But from the very beginning, it's not it's not something that's hard. It's not a challenge. I think that's one of the biggest things that frustrates me in talking to people. I could never meditate because I could never calm my mind. And it's like, that's like saying you're not going to breathe again or something. Like, your mind doesn't exactly calm in the most general sense. Like, thoughts are just a natural aspect of your mind. So you could never hope for them to be completely gone. And that shouldn't be the goal anyways. You're just kind of drifting beyond them. They're still there.
I should have asked you this earlier. What do you teach?
I used to teach public speaking and debate.
Would you roll meditation into that, as in before you go up and publicly speak, or to clear your mind before a debate?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's like a part of my every moment, really, at this point. So, yeah.
Do you guys visualize at all?
Not consistently or deliberately. In other words, it's not part of my jiu-jitsu practice. Mm-hmm. But what I would say is, if I have a good class, if I take a good class, or if I watch a good video, there's a visualization component of trying to recall it. And I took copious notes up through Blue Belt. I didn't feel the need to take notes from Purple Belt because I had enough structure to plug it into. But when you don't have a structure, notes are good. And the interesting thing about notes was, it's after practice. I don't take notes during practice. It's kind of rude to the instructor, and it was, but I would go to a cafe or whatever after practice and start writing it down. And I realized I hardly ever looked at those notes again, right? Because you're busy.
Yeah.
I have them. They're cool as a souvenir, but
in the act of taking them, I bet you cemented it into your
total
brain.
recall.
Yeah.
You have to completely visualize and reproduce the class to take the notes, and that was enough. So I did that, but I don't do it like meditation where I'm going to visualize the perfect arm bar and I'm going to visualize me winning. And I'm not saying that's bullshit. If I were like a pro athlete and I needed like a 1% edge on the other pro athletes, I think that's legitimate. But for me, as someone who does it a little more recreationally, I don't think it's the best use of my time. I'd rather, it's like, oh, I have an hour to visualize? No, I'll do an hour in Travis's class, or I'll do an hour with Henry, or you know what I mean? That's a better use of my time.
Do you daydream about it at all? Or just find your, because I mean, I think that's another form of visualization as well.
Yeah. Unstructured visualization.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I love it. Yeah. And I'm always thinking of all the connections among the jiu-jitsu techniques and how the whole thing works to become a matrix, right? That I can connect everything. But it's not, when you say visualization, I'm thinking the way like sports coaches make tennis players visualize the perfect backhand. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to, I'm going to visualize my armbar being perfect and how I'm going to do. That's almost like, I'm sure it's, like I said, I'm sure it's good if you need like a 1% edge. But for me, I don't think it's the most useful.
What about you, Travis?
Yeah. I daydream for sure.
Which to me is almost, I mean, because I do as well, and I have my entire life.
Oh, me as well.
Especially when I find something that I enjoy. Most of the time it happens when I'm driving. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong lane. But
I do it in the shower.
I figured you would in the sauna.
The sauna for sure. When I'm falling asleep at night or trying to fall asleep at night. But it's like what Jon described as visualization. I never do. Like I never picture myself repping anything. I picture myself, sometimes I go back in time to tournaments that have already happened. But I still visualize myself. I flip the tables. But I go back and I have that fight again. And this time I win because I do what I didn't do the first time. That sort of daydreaming. And in my outside of jiu-jitsu, because for me, jiu-jitsu is, it's been a tool that's helped me be successful in my life outside of the mat. And it's probably been the biggest factor for success off the mat has been jiu-jitsu. And so a lot of times I'll have the craziest dreams. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, holy shit, like this is actually happening. Like, can you believe like we did what we wanted to do? But it was a dream, but it has to start as a dream. Like if it's not a dream, like if you never actually think about it, it doesn't just
manifest itself.
Correct. No, it has to start as a dream. And then, so I do it daily, all the time. Driving.
Like windshield time.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience personally with visualization in a negative aspect, actually, in my old job. We do a ton of shooting with high-level coaches, and they're, be the bullet, think in your head of, hand coming back to the center of your chest, indexing your holster, pulling, and that would kind of continue on. And you hear guys talk about they would visualize executing every phase of the operation and their responsibilities perfectly. And I tried that for a bit, and I actually found that it would jack my brain up a little bit because I wasn't allowing myself to think through the multiple possibilities of things that we might encounter. And I would, to a small degree, try to force the world that was presenting itself to me to my visualization, as opposed to just taking like, hey, we had this great plan and here's real life and I'm just going to deal with that. So I found that I was more successful by accepting the daydream and just letting it go where it goes. And maybe it's completely non sequitur to what we were about to do. But I mean, I've had some daydreams just so far down the rabbit hole of stuff that I've never experienced in that. And then when it comes to starting jiu-jitsu, like I just let the mind go, but I'm thinking about it all the time. It's ridiculous how much I'm thinking about it. And instead of fighting, I'm just like, okay, cool. That's weird. I'm not going to tell anybody about that one because I don't want to go to jail, but
it's addictive for that reason.
Yeah.
The physical part of jiu-jitsu is cool, right? And I'm not discounting it at all because it's fundamentally physical. And if you try to make it into Tai Chi or Aikido, it loses all its value to me. But you can get a good hard workout a lot of other ways. I mean, I think it's the mental aspect, the strategy component, the chess board, except chess is almost kind of two-dimensional.
It's like asymmetrical problem solving.
Spherical, three-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
And so that can be very addictive if you have that kind of personality.
You're playing chess in a dryer.
Yeah.
is basically what,
Yeah.
and the dryer's on. Like my old job, I described
In
as,
both movement and heat.
yeah. I described my old job as asymmetrical problem solving, and I think jiu-jitsu falls into the same thing. Because, for one, the biggest thing is you're under pressure. And people ask me all the time. I took up bow hunting a few years ago, and they're like, well, how much of the rifle stuff applies to the bow? And almost all of it. But when I'm behind a rifle, I'm under no tension whatsoever. I'm laying down, just trying to relax. And you can just X-ring, or just nailing the target for hundreds, if not thousands of yards. And then you pick up a bow, and at 70 yards, your pin's all over the place because you're trying to do all the same stuff, but under an immense amount of pressure and tension, which is what jiu-jitsu feels like. I understand, but I can't breathe.
Well, and it's like bow hunting, probably the animal does this too, but it's like there's no visual here, right? But Travis, draw your bow and try and aim it.
Oh, for sure.
If someone's trying to stop you from aiming it, it's really hard.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
I'll daydream about like someone caught me with something, and I'll think like, no, but Jon taught me that position. I was in a good position. So it'll stay in my head. Sometimes it's like, I can't go to sleep. I'm still thinking about it.
You know what you need to do?
Meditate.
Get them back.
Oh, get them back. Yeah.
But actually, I like where you're going with this because people ask me, like, someone wants to do a private lesson, or I'll roll with someone, purple belt. And they'll ask me often, I'm sure you get this all the time, because if you're coaching enough, you get this. So what did I do wrong? And I'm like, you didn't really do anything wrong. And they're like, but you annihilated me. And I'm like, yeah, but that's
I've been at this a piece.
Yeah, right. It's like if you were totally out of position, if you were doing, I would tell you, like, you're my student. It's like you are doing everything that you can do right. I can't artificially give you the next 15 years. You have to be here for the next 15 years. And so it's cool that you recognize that you're in the right position, but someone can just kind of outmaneuver you. It's like, oh, this guy's like, he's got 30 pounds on me. He's got 3 years on me. He's 25 years old. And like, I was doing it right and he got me anyway. That you have to accept that. That's going to happen.
One of the great solutions I've figured out to all of that is I will sit there sometimes and really, I'm like, no, it's physics. I should be able to think this through. I can figure this out. And I've found that the best solution is always call Jon. I'm like, hey, Jon, I was stuck in this position. And it's like immediate answer that didn't occur to me and probably was never going to occur to me. So,
but also an extra 50 pounds is also physics. Everything's physics.
Sure.
I had a similar conversation with Henry on the podcast that we were talking about on the way over here. And that's the thing about jiu-jitsu is what are you teaching this weekend?
Me?
Yeah.
I am, because it was letting go, right? I had a few things on my plate, but when Matt said letting go, it's going to be choke defenses, 3D, like how one choke defense really translates 3D into all these positions, and always begin with the hand fight, but the moment you lose the hand fight, let it go and move to the next position.
Perfect. So you're going to teach choke defense, but next camp, if you taught us chokes, would they not be valid?
They'd both be equally valid.
Correct. And that's the part that people struggle with is, you teach one side of the coin, and then they're like, okay, got it, done.
They think they're done,
but you're not done. That's.
I remember this. You asked Henry, and he's like, totally.
Yeah.
And Michael came back from Costa Rica and said this to me. He's like, Henry would teach one day because he was there a whole week. And he'd be like, I thought I had this all figured out. And the next day he'd show how to kill everything he just showed the next day. And he's like, what's the truth? And it's like, the truth is that it's just,
it's an evolutionary arms race.
And it's not right or wrong, but that's
that's the depth and layers that
and
you're
I'm going to
talking
name
about.
names. There are certain people like Preet who want to be done with jiu-jitsu. I've solved jiu-jitsu. I've figured out jiu-jitsu.
I don't know who that is.
He's dead
Good.
to us.
Okay.
You don't need to know.
Perfect.
But my point is, it's like, no, because someone beats me today or because I beat someone, it has nothing to do with what's right and wrong. That's why I'm glad you said, I know this is right, but he got me anyway. Yeah, just keep doing the right thing because it will eventually work. And the The guys who are terrors at white belt and blue belt because they're falling back on wrestling or judo or size or strength or whatever, they're the shittiest brown and black belts because they don't have jiu-jitsu. And the guys who are willing to lose at white and blue, and you're still at purple, he's a high purple belt, but it's like they're willing to lose with jiu-jitsu, right? It's like, I know this is right. I don't care what happens today. I care about what happens in like 10 years and 20 years and 30 years.
Game.
They become the killers.
Yeah, I'll go right back into that position. Like
As you should.
I was getting ripped up by the one brown belt or whatever. We were talking about him at Shinsa Gym, and it was just like he got me in his close guard. He tapped me with something, I don't remember what, and I was just like, let's go close guard again.
Smart.
Let's go close guard again. And then I passed him. Like, it took a lot of chance. I had to take a lot of,
Or you could have avoided it and never gotten better in that position.
Right.
One of the nicest things, Matt's not big. Matt and I are kind of alike. I don't compliment that many people, and some of my students are weird about it, but this is how I am. Matt's not very vocal.
Not vocal at all.
Yeah. But and he never said it to me, but one time I remember he was talking at a camp or a seminar, and he's like talking about like being willing to get back in that position. He's like, Rick Davison has like the gnarliest half butterfly guard in the universe. Like Henry smashes my guard, and Henry had trouble. Like not trouble, just couldn't pass.
Couldn't pass.
Yeah. I mean, Rick's got like that one game where it's like it's just gnarly.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I was doing this consciously until Matt pointed out. He's like, "Okay, let me tell you about jiu-jitsu. I watch people roll with Rick, and what they do is they spend 5 minutes running circles around him, trying not to get in his half butterfly guard. But neither one of them gets to do any jiu-jitsu because they're just running around." And he's like, Jon Frankel does a belly flop into the butterfly guard and plays from there, regardless of getting swept around. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. Not because I have some like Asian philosophy about it, but that's just how I'm wired. I'm like, oh, Rick's got the gnarliest half butterfly guard ever. Get in there and surf. And it's like he dumps me, and then I get back in there, and he dumps me, and I get back in. And then like Mike said, pretty soon it's harder for him to dump me, and you're never going to solve that problem by running circles around it.
Sure. Yeah, by avoiding it.
You can't outrun problems.
Nope.
Did John tell you we renamed one of your moves from camp?
What was the move?
The love seat.
Oh, I don't know. He meant to say Travis.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Travis, sorry.
Yeah.
What was the move? I like moves, yeah. Well,
So last time you were there, you taught the counters from turtle, bottom. And one of them was where you bookshelf the guy.
correct.
Kind of a lateral drop.
Yeah.
So you've got the iron pillow, the iron sheet. Now you have the iron love seat.
Where you sit up and just sit back over your foot and just dump them right in the love seat.
That is, and again,
That's the iron love seat.
it is. And we've talked about this a lot. So, Matt was talking about with Henry. You were talking about Henry on the last podcast. Super important to give credit where credit is due. Like I reform things and repattern things and repackage things and try and make them more holistic. But in terms of individual moves, individual techniques that I think are like really essential jiu-jitsu techniques, like I've gotten the most from Henry in the last 5 years than anyone else. And that's like straight Henry. I might package it so I show it as like so people go, oh, this is part of an entire system. But that move is Henry. And to me, and I think I said this in Montana, it's like one, if not the most like jiu-jitsu, and I'm doing air quotes. Right
I know exactly which one you're talking about. I love that.
Right, because
I love it.
It's like magic, except
You feel like a child when you're in it because you just see your feet coming up and you're like, this is stupid. I was winning.
And when you're
everyone thinks they're winning. I'm in turtle top. I'm winning.
Jane did a
It's like-
TikTok on SBG Montana's Instagram of you doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I need
TikTok.
Who did I get?
You saw it?
Who did I get?
I don't remember.
I like to pair it now with them like running. They're like they start in the front and they want to run to the side, and I just wait for them with my knee and just. But dude, we go over, grab their leg and just mount. I'm like, and then I just go shh,
stroke their head.
Yeah, let's just talk.
No, but so you were saying you were describing it from the one who's being swept, but the one who's
Oh my God, you did it to me in a roll after you taught it, and
but the one who's sweeping, you also feel like
no.
you feel like wait, I didn't really
This shouldn't work.
anything.
Yeah.
And he's on his back and I'm on top, right? It's so effortless, which is good jiu-jitsu.
He taught it at a seminar, and then we rolled afterwards, and immediately did it to me, and felt effortless, and I just was laughing as I was watching my feet go into the
That's really strange because I've been rolling with Jon for the last decade, and that's never happened. You know, like where he taught something and then did it immediately to me, or I could identify every move as it was coming and couldn't stop it. Like
I see it more though everywhere. There's a lot of places where I see the ability, and the reverse shrimp has been paying dividends for sure. Sliding under people's hips and then dumping them.
A lot of that's going to come up in my lesson on Sunday too. Yeah, I mean, shrimp is so fundamental, and I think at the lower levels, it's like I need to get away from you. I need to put you back in guard, like distance, and especially if someone's trying to punch you or whatever. I mean, the shrimp is everything. Like, the shrimp is. But that reverse shrimp about like owning someone's hips, you get your hips under someone's hips and they're just like, they're just floating on you. Please don't take me there or wherever you want to dump me. You know, it's
an eye-opener.
It's crucial. Yeah.
I think I may have gotten Travis with one of those, but it didn't work the second time though.
Fool me once.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it. Actually, I think the second time I tried it, my nose was bleeding afterwards.
Meanie.
He's just holding on. I've almost swept Travis once.
Oh, by the way, I was very glad. I was very, very, very glad. I'm not going to name any names, but I was very, very glad that someone today was guaranteed to sweep you and kind of invaded our space and got smashed.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys have a grudge match of some type?
No, not a grudge match. It's just some people feel the need to be constantly teaching instead of doing. And Travis was kind of like, well, really? I don't think so. Show me what you mean. And kind of squashed him in slow motion.
It's all the weights that I lift.
Yeah.
A lot of weightlifting.
That iron love seat's a bitch, though.
And people and the thing about anything, once they know, the first couple of times, everyone's getting dumped, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing about those positions are, and again, we're not on video, but it's kind of like the wrist lock thing. Like once you know, like Travis grabs my collar or whatever, and I do a cool, like just old school standing jiu-jitsu wrist lock. And I say, and I'll teach some stand-up self-defense. And then students will be like, okay, but watch this. And then like I grab him, wrist lock me. Wrist lock me.
He's pulling his hand away rapidly.
But it's like, okay, but you're no threat to me because you're so terrified of what I'm going to do to you. So like that chair sit and things like that, the iron love seat, it's like, yeah, people cannot get swept, but it's like, you can't attack me in turtle anymore. You are afraid to put any pressure on me, which is also a win.
That actually,
which that'll come up in my section as well.
You can almost feel them shifting their weight
so
away.
So it's like, and now I will stand up and punch you or run away, which is also good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
When you can make someone afraid to commit, because Henry talks about this, like, you're not going to commit weight to me in guard. I'm standing up because A, I might want to run away because I'm not getting paid to fight you, or B, I might want to throw you on your head because I actually know takedowns. And if you pressure me, that's all the elements I need to sweep you. Like all that forward weight is exactly what I'm going to use to sweep you, and that's that turtle too. It's like, really, you're gonna foil me by running away from me? Awesome. That's not turtle attacking. That's me standing up and walking out the door.
Yeah.
So as a corollary to my previous thought where I'm like, Jon taught me this position. Something's not working here. Generally, one of my thoughts is like, I have this thought a lot, which is, what are you giving me? Like, you're giving me something. To block this, you're giving me something, and I don't know. Sometimes I can't figure out what they're giving me.
Talking about this on our roll Thursday. When you were talking about, I was pushing on one of your side, and it drove you.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that
we had this conversation literally the last time he and I rolled.
That's because I've been working hard on my guard passing.
Yeah.
And, I'm trying to feel where your frame is, and then let your frame push me to where I need to go.
Yep.
Yes. Because I can't push back into it.
Nope.
That was the first time it worked.
But it's that's what I would say. Like, having that image in your head is the first step. You'll always get there. Yeah, so many people focus on like, what is he not giving me? Yeah. What is he grabbing? What is he blocking? Where it's sort of like, man, if a grown man or woman, not a child, but like if a grown and physically capable man or woman says like, all I'm going to do is like block your right arm, or all I'm going to do is like frame on your face, or all I'm going to do is hug your right leg. I mean, they're dedicating their whole body to your right leg. Like the right leg's done. So like think about the other 75% of your body and go from there.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Theory of camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to, that's a power hour right there. That's 1 hour. It always seems short. You get to close this out.
Oh,
You might as well close out the first podcast you're on. Closing thoughts? And then we can go to everybody else.
boy, I don't know.
Well, you're going to have to get
kinda put
good
me
at
on the
this.
spot. Yeah,
that's,
I wasn't
that's what I was trying to do.
I didn't even know I was going to be on a podcast tonight, so that was a bit of a surprise.
If you had known, would you have been nervous about it, though?
I don't know. Maybe everything new makes you nervous, right? So, look for those of you who are in the area in Texas. Look for New Braunfels.
Yes, you nailed it this time.
Look for SBG Texas to open up. I'm hoping to be open by like January 1st. And
do you guys have a website yet?
I own the domain, but we haven't got the website up.
What is the domain?
SBGTexas.com.
Strong. Yeah. All right. So don't go there now, though, because
There'll be nothing. There'll be nothing there now. But yeah, one thing at a time. We're just dealing with a lot. I hit the country October 2nd. I bought a house within 5 days. It's been a blitzkrieg pace. It's been
So I will let Travis close because I want to follow Mike and I want Travis to say something to Dudley. But Michael Hines will be open by January 1st. I'm going to speak in positives. I'm doing a seminar there the second week of February, and you know I'm doing a seminar in Atlanta, then Birmingham. Those are established schools, and then the third week of my winter seminars will be in Texas. I can't wait for it, and you know it's Rob and Mike. They're cool guys, but you know if anyone were, I think it's the wrong way of thinking, but if anyone were like, oh, well, yeah, it's cool, SBG, but these guys are purple belts, I'll just say a few things. 10 years each, around 10 years of pure jiu-jitsu, 20 years of meditation, yoga, nutrition, all that other stuff. But more importantly, completely connected to and interacting with a lot of the best black belts in the world on an ongoing basis. So they're not out there pretending to be a kind of unique, independent, like king of the world. It's like, hey, we're SVG. It's like from Matt to Travis to me coming for seminars and then going to see Henry and all these other things. It's like, it is the best information. I really believe that. It's the best information about jiu-jitsu. They are the transmitters of that information. They're not pretending to be like, 18-time world champions or anything. I think it's going to be awesome.
I agree. And I love Austin.
I think February sounds amazing for a trip to Austin.
Let's go.
You're
right when it's cold where you guys are. We'll go down there, barbecue.
It'll
music.
still be hot. Still be hot. Music will be good.
Yeah.
Barbecue will
I'm
be
in.
great.
I'll put that on the calendar
Let's
here
go.
as soon as we're done.
Please go.
You know who's not invited?
Dudley.
Dudley.
You don't want him getting good at jiu-jitsu.
You know what I'm going to invite Dudley over for? Humble pie after I crush him on podcast visits.
Man, I think he's up on you by like 4 or 5, though.
Yeah, he had a head start.
He did have a head start.
But also hunting season. Like Travis can make it up in the winter and stuff when you're out
Hunting season is short, man. Like mine's already over.
No, I know. But
Yeah.
like you guys are together all the time.
All the time, yeah, for weeks at a time.
So
yeah.
like in summer, Travis might make up some ground.
Pretty much I'm going to be on the podcast every day.
We can do it. We got to do one
Dudley
for the grand.
can't keep that pace.
We got to do one for the grand opening in Whitefish.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, Dudley's throat's still probably sore. Like, I don't know if he can even talk.
Listen to his podcast, and you'll hear him. Like,
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's I don't want that to happen to me.
Don't let it. Don't let it.
It's not good for you.
Yeah. No, I feel. He found a brown belt that's like 2 hours away. Like he's actively he wants to.
Cool.
He's just in the spot where it's logistically challenging, which is beneficial for all of us.
Yes.
Because that dude has got gorilla mitts that are super strong.
This is true.
Wait, the brown belt's an hour away?
Jiu-jitsu lesson.
2
in
hours
Kalispell.
away.
2 hours.
So you could just see him.
Oh yeah, he's.
Oh, he was
beast.
a foot starting quarterback,
Yeah.
like some guy-
athletic his entire life, and like you said, process oriented.
Jiu-Jitsu
the scary
was
thing.
invented for people like that.
Oh, God.
To deal with people like that. I'm always a little leery of letting them
This guy will
learn,
go
you
out
know?
and just shoot arrows, and he goes through the process every single shot, and he just drives arrow. He's a tack driver on top of arrow on top of arrow. And I know that if he gets his hand on some goddamn knowledge,
And he's physically gifted as
yes,
well. Which is,
spatial awareness is amazing for him.
it's one thing if a short guy like a little 5'7" bald dude like is smart,
And you're still pretty
That's-
dangerous.
That's cool. But could you imagine if I was 6'6"? Like
I think you've
220,
already. I think you've already projected that forward. You'd own the world.
no, what I said was there would only be one man alive. All the women would still be alive. But yeah, I mean,
it'd be Slim Pickens for him, the ones that played for your team,
I'm pretty sure that's why God gave me my body.
to make sure that didn't happen.
100%. So that's how we'll go out.
Perfect. That's it, everybody. That is this week's episode. Thank you, everyone who has been providing me feedback on the podcast. Thank you to everybody who takes the time to send me emails, to reach out. I do the best that I can to get back to everybody. I apologize if I haven't gotten back to you and you have sent me a message. It's not me trying to be malicious. It might just be a point in time where you might have caught me where I was a touch overwhelmed, and it's on me if I didn't get back to you. It's not on you. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the podcast by writing a review, telling people about it. And for everybody who bought sweatshirts, I finally got them back in stock. There's a massive pile of sweatshirts in bags sitting on my counter right now. I'm taking them to the post office. I'm sorry for the delay. You'll never believe this, but the reason that they were delayed is because I am an idiot. And I messed up on the order in every way possible, so it's totally on me. And we'll leave you with that. Hope you have a good week, and be back on Monday.